afternoon, everyone. As mentioned, my name is Heather Tokman, and I am your channel manager for 123Net, based out of Detroit, Michigan. With me today, I have Adam Baines. He is one of our sales engineers, and he mainly supports the channel. So he'll be walking through our network with you today, our data center, and our voice solutions, as well as talking about some new things that are happening here at 123Net with our network. If you're not familiar with 123Net, let me just start with our mission, right? So as I mentioned, we're headquartered here in Detroit. We are a Michigan-based company, and it is our mission to build networks to make Michigan communities and businesses the best connected on the planet, right? We want to build world-class networks here for our communities and our businesses so that they can thrive. Why choose 123Net over some other carriers that you may be familiar with? Well, we've been in business for over 25 years, and we have been consistently committed to our partner channel. So we were founded and built by the partner channel, and we have built very strong, long-lasting relationships over the past 25 years to help grow our network. We are focused, like I said, on expanding Michigan's network with over 4,000 miles of fiber. We are becoming, if we aren't already, the dominant player here in Michigan in terms of network. So while we don't have a nationwide footprint like a Comcast or Windstream or AT&T, we do pretty much dominate the major Metro Detroit and surrounding areas here in Michigan. Why do people choose 123Net? Well, I would say our people. Our people are here local for support, engineering, and construction. We have over 12 directional drill teams and crews out boring fiber every single day, lighting up new buildings, multi-tenant, single-tenant, and other. And we also have customer-focused teams, or CFTs as we like to call them. So a CFT is assigned to every single customer to ensure that they have the most access to customer support, billing, project management, sales engineering, net ops, everything that they could need within 123Net. We're just a phone call away. You have a direct line to one of those individuals rather than calling in and being escalated levels, 1 through 4 with someone who's not familiar with your account. With the CFTs, it just creates a more custom, focused, personalized experience for our customers. Because of that, the average customer stays with 123Net about 8.5 to 10 years, which in our industry for an ISP is a very, very high customer retention rate. So we're very proud of that. We're also founders of the Detroit Internet Exchange. So Adam will touch a little bit more upon this as we dive into data center, but if you're not familiar with an internet exchange, it is essentially a peering point for different content providers to exchange traffic freely. 123Net founded the Detroit Internet Exchange in 2014, and we've quickly become the 8th largest internet exchange in North America. So on the entire continent, we are exchanging the most traffic here in the region. And that's, exchanged by different providers like Microsoft, Google, Apple, Twitter, Netflix. So that's a really, really good selling point as we get into our data centers. Our network is very scalable, so we can build up to 100 gig circuits for enterprise customers, starting at the gig level. So we definitely work with a lot of enterprise organizations to build a roadmap for the future. And 100 gigs may seem like a lot, but we have been receiving some of those requests. I would say right now we're seeing in the enterprise space, 10 gigs are the new 1 gig, as I would like to say. We're seeing a big bandwidth and even some 20, 40 gig requests. So we like to make sure that our network is built to scale and handle that capacity. So like I said, 97% customer retention rate. Who trusts 123Net? These are a little bit older. We have some new exciting things that we'll be sharing with you later this year. A couple sports teams, wink, wink, here in the state, but we're not finalized on that quite yet. But we work with companies of all sizes, right? So we can handle an SMB, law firm with 5 to 10 users and provide them with the best fiber experience that competes with their coax or broadband. But we also, like I said, can scale up to 100 gigs to support some of these enterprise customers like healthcare, manufacturing, high tech, finance that really need it the most. Our three main pillars of our business are data center, network, and voice. In the data center space, we have 4 data centers today, 3 of which reside in Southfield, Michigan, which is in Metro Detroit. Our 4th is in Grand Rapids for geodiversity. They're both on different power grids. The Metro Detroit area is DTE energy powered, nuclear, and the west side is consumers energy. So we do often have customers that are looking for geodiversity. They'll have an environment in Southfield and they'll replicate in Grand Rapids. We do have plans in the future to build a 5th data center in Grand Rapids that will replicate our DC1 here in Southfield. They're all carrier hotels, carrier neutral, and available to cross connect into cloud providers like Megaport. Our network, 4,000 miles of fiber and counting, and Adam is going to dive into some updates for you on where our network is growing here within the state. And of course, voice services, we're an ISP. We offer traditional SIP trunking, PRIs, VoIP, and in Q4, we'll be launching our unified communications platform. So look out for some updates on that. And on that note, I will pass it over to you, Adam.
Thank you, Heather. So as Heather introduced me, I'm Adam Baines. I'm one of the sales engineers that supports the carrier channel, or excuse me, carrier channel, the partner channel, like your folks. So let's talk about our network. 123net, as mentioned, has about coming up on 5,000 miles of network that we own. The blue on this map she is showing is our long haul network. So we own some IRU network on there. And the metro in the green is all 123net owned. It is growing far faster than this map is currently updated to. In red, the little dots are what we call our fixed wireless POP sites. That's a point of presence. We have 53, I believe, last I checked, POP sites in the Metro Detroit and Grand Rapids and scattering areas. Those offer fixed wireless to customers that may not have fiber yet. And we will offer a product called fiber to follow. So for example, a customer has fiber right out front their door. However, permitting construction may take 90, 120 days or more. We can offer that fixed wireless in a short term, turn it up in a few weeks, and they can use that until the fiber is completed. It's a great solution to getting a customer online and actually going before the construction is completed. If you want to jump over to the next slide. Oh, did I lose you, Heather? Oh, there you go.
Sorry, we had a little delay there. There you go.
That's all right. So what's new with 123net? The 500-mile middle mile connectivity project. So the government has noticed the issues with connectivity, obviously with COVID, people working from home, and national security. So this NTIA grant that was put in place, 123net and PFN, one of our partners that's from the UP, the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. We decided to work together and team up to help work on finding a solution for these problems. So in the map on the right here, you'll see these green lines, most notably the one from Chicago to Benton Harbor in like southern Michigan. That route is needed because of the lack of diversity coming into Michigan. So today, pretty much every provider in the Midwest going into Michigan has to go around that lower bend into like South Bend, Indiana, or like Gary, Indiana. There's about 5 or 6 providers all going around the lake, obviously, because no one's gone through the lake. We are actually submarine cable going from Chicago to Benton Harbor, just across the way from Chicago, running two pair of 144 count fiber. So it's very exciting to actually have a new dark fiber strand that we can offer from Chicago to Michigan for connectivity. Likewise, on the east side of the state, we have St. Clair Shore area up in the Canada border. On that side, we are getting connectivity to slowly reach our grasp into Canada. The demand for connectivity from Canada through the state and into Chicago is very high. So we're slowly bridging that gap, literally. And our friends at PFN, since they are up in the UP, see a need for the connectivity in the UP coming down into the Lower Peninsula. And we're stopping at Beaver Island, which is the little island that's just at the tip of the thumb, right about there. There's about 1,000 people on that island today that have very limited or no internet connectivity today. So we're going to help fix that as well. If you want to jump over to the next slide there. So the next project that we are working on, again, what I talked about, NTIA, one of the troubles was COVID, people working from home. As you know, there is a lot of problems with people having connectivity at home. Not so much in the Metro Detroit area, but one of our counties, Allegan, that we are working with today. A lot of it is, farmland, and it's not as well developed as a big city, right? As your Detroits or your Grand Rapids, like we have in Michigan. So we started a public-private partnership with this county, and there is about 10,000 residents that are going to get connectivity that were underserved. So they had 30 megs or less available to them, or no service at all to them. So in that development, there's going to be 1,100 miles that we are building with the county. We split it 3 ways. So 123net put in about $15 million of our capital, and the county put in about $15 million of their capital, and the government matched that. So we're putting about 60 million plus into that county for network development. And it's not just residential, it's going to be residential to start, but we're slowly going to start building into businesses as well, which obviously our market is targeted as well. We're starting in August of 23. So slowly we are going to be building that. It'll probably take a couple of years to get the full 1,100 miles, obviously, as you can imagine, by the density of this picture, but a couple of years down the road, that should be built. Smart Firewall. So this is a new product that we just started launching within the last couple months. Basically, this is to bridge the gap of a coax customer leaving your, say, AT&T, your Comcast, and usually targeted at a small business, right? So they may not have their own IT company. They don't have somebody that's managing equipment on the regular. This is a perfect solution for them. It's targeted, obviously, for just 123net circuits. We host this virtually in our data center. So it's running off a virtual machine. There's no licensing. There's no hardware limitations. It's all living in the cloud. So if they buy a 100 meg circuit and one day they upgrade to a 1 gig circuit, we don't have to change anything. It just scales right with it. There's no licensing or anything like that. We'll offer a code management. So if somebody wants to log in, open up a port or something like that, we'll absolutely allow that. It has stateful filtering, so it can filter normal firewall limitations, right? So if they need to hand off DHCP and that sort of thing, no problem. Port filtering. It's a great basic firewall. It's built on a pfSense, if you're familiar with that software. It's a great solution for those smaller businesses that don't have IT. They need a firewall, obviously, to protect their network.
And if you do have any questions about the Smart Firewall or the back end, feel free to put those in the chat, or we're happy to set up a separate time to walk through a demo and really deep dive into what the solution means and what customers it's a fit for. So that is always an option.
So Smart Fire, oh, you're jumping around there, sorry.
There you go.
There we go, thank you. Smart firewall. Some notable features, obviously, as I mentioned before, this is standard offering for firewalls. We can do NAT, port forwarding, DNS, DHCP, a client VPN if they have people that are working from home and still want to connect into the network. Packet inspection, and ARP watch. So if somebody connects a device, a foreign device, we can get alerts for it and notify the customer, as well as our network operations center. We can jump over to the next slide, I suppose. So as I mentioned before, no licensing, no hardware to scale. A lot of firewalls run into that, where you have to start upgrading the licensing or the actual physical hardware itself. None of that's needed, as it's just living in a software world. We can just ramp up the hardware or software associated with it. Likewise, we can do a site-to-site VPN connectivity between it. So if they have multiple sites with 123net network, we can absolutely put that on there. Co-location is also an option as well. So for example, they are just starting up a small data center to secure their network. They don't want to, fork over the cash or the capital of a new piece of hardware. We can absolutely offer that soft-based hosted firewall. We'll let them not have to worry about bringing in new hardware. It's just a monthly cost to cover it. Again, best use cases, customers without an IT staff or a managed service provider, or an existing firewall that can't meet bandwidth requirements. Again, I can scale this firewall from one gig to 100 meg, no problem. Doesn't even have to change anything on our side. Expired or expensive licensing, we run into this all the time. A customer says, hey, my license expired. They want, $2,000 for a new license for 3 years. It's huge capital expense for a small business. And we've also ran into like Cisco Meraki stuff or FortiGate, where they lock out of the device and they can't use it anymore. And they have no means to get into it. They have to buy a new firewall all from scratch to get in there, in licensing and start from scratch. It costs a fortune. This is a monthly recurring charge, very easy to deal with. Smart firewall pricing. I'm sure Heather can touch on this as well. These are just 36-month pricing examples. We can get very aggressive with the pricing on this, as it's all managed by us. No hardware involved. Voice offerings. So we still have a lot of customers that are still using PRIs today. We have just a couple left that are on our old copper T1s that are going away, and we're slowly converting them to a PRI handoff. So we can still offer those 23 channels of PRI with a T1 handoff with our equipment. We can do a POTS line. We call it a dynamic digital line. So if you still have customers with alarm, elevators, fax machines, we can still handle that as well. We can also offer SIP trunks. So as many call passes as you need on that. All we need is an IP address to send the traffic to. And just touching on hosted really quick, we do have a new system coming out as well. That is going to be a UCaaS service. I'm sure Heather will announce that once it's officially released. I'm guessing probably 90 days, like a quarter for, Heather? Does that sound about right?
It does, yes.
Yep. Our standard hosted PBX offering is an asterisk-based solution. It encompasses and covers about 90% of what customers have, but the UCaaS solution is going to have that last 10% what people want as video chat, SMS, MMS. It's going above and beyond to the next level. So consider that the hosted that we have today, covers 90% of your customers that need coverage in
it will be, and the back ends are different as well. So with our hosted VoIP, it is an asterisk-based system built off of free PBX. With our UCaaS, it will be NetSapient platform backed. So they are two different platforms. We are still keeping our traditional hosted voice, our VoIP for customers that need it. So both product offerings will still be available. But as Adam mentioned, we'll be releasing more information about UCaaS in Q4.
So carrier neutral data center. One of the things that really stands us apart from a lot of data centers in Michigan is we've always remained carrier neutral. So for example, if a customer comes in, they need connectivity in Michigan, they buy a cabinet with us, they can buy any kind of circuits or service from any data center or any ISP we have in the data center today. We allow Comcast, your AT&Ts, and several small ISPs you probably never heard of as well to come in and service our customers that are co-located in the facility. We have no problem with that. We allow anybody to come in and utilize that space and offer a redundant connection to our customers. High density co-location. So we are getting very high demand, as you guys are probably aware on the call, for the AI sort of technology that's coming in. So very, very dense computing. You know, we've had 60 kilowatts, 30 kilowatts per cabinet, per rack requests coming in. We have the facility and the power to accommodate them. We have hot cold aisles as shown in the right there. And obviously we're constantly monitoring that equipment. So we have our own internal based monitoring with humidity sensors, temperature controls, air volume, and that is being relayed to our facilities team on site as well as our network operations center.
Great, thanks, Adam. So that covers a majority of our product offerings. So just a little recap, we have our network, 4,000 miles of fiber, our 4 data centers, and our voice offerings, PRI, SIP, VoIP, and UCaaS. Moving into SPIFs, something we love to talk about here in the channel. We do update our SPIFs every quarter. So right now we're near the end of Q3, but we still have our fast track zone SPIFs. Our fast track zones are usually within 500 feet of our existing network is where what will qualify for a fast track zone. So if you do have an address that you're quoting, just reach out to me, ask if it qualifies for the fast track, and we offer a 3x SPIF on either a 3-year term or a 5-year term. If the fiber is already inside of the building, it's a 4x. So that would apply to 4x on a 3-year or 4x on a 5-year term. So these are really great network SPIFs that we'd love for you to take advantage here in the month of August. We have a few days left, and then throughout September. And then we'll be coming out with new SPIFs in October.
Hey, Heather, we have a couple questions for you.
Oh, great.
Perfect.
Let's hear it.
All right. First one is, if a customer has one location in Michigan, but have other locations outside your fiber footprint, do you offer type 2 service on your bill so the customer only has one bill?
Absolutely.
Yes.
We sure do. So we do partner with most of the national carriers out there. We connect them back to an NNI, and we will put them all on one bill. Typically, if the customer doesn't have a location in Michigan, we try not to just quote a single site, out in Texas or, California. But if they do have one site here in Michigan and they want to add on some additionals throughout the country, we're more than happy to take that business.
For sure. We have a lot of customers today that do that.
All right. And then we do have a marketing address to send your SPIFs to, and I'll be happy to share that with you after the presentation.
Oh, great. Wonderful.
All right. Real quick, are there any other questions before we proceed or close? Oh, one more. What is the standard size of your customer in terms of size of employees?
That's a great question. I would say that we were, I'd say I'd say like when I started about 6 years ago, our target was always medium businesses. So, call it 40 employees plus historically because we were just doing dedicated service circuits for internet. But I'd say that's slowly gone down. So we're starting to really capitalize on the smaller business aspect. But I'd still say overall, our primary target is like a medium or large business. As Heather put in some of the earlier slides, we work with some very large companies in Michigan, car dealerships, some of the sports teams, and obviously like the big three is a great example. So the big three is, you guys are in St. Louis, is the auto manufacturing. So obviously thousands of employees.
All right.
Hope
Well,
that answers your question.
yeah, that's great. And Heather and Adam, thank you so much for joining us today in your presentation.